at the library when my son was around 2, and we were at a train table, and my son walked over to another boy, grabbed his train, and whacked him over the head with it. The other boy's mom was furious. I felt immediate shame as I perceived judgment from the other parents around the table. I shouted at my son, I smacked his hand, and picked him up quickly. And as we headed out of the library and back to the car, all of this occurred in a matter of 3 short minutes. As I strapped my son in the car, I felt this sense of guilt wash over me. I overreacted. Feelings of shame overtook my sense of self and my ability to process the situation. I acted impulsively in anger. Truth be told, my anger was more about being perceived as a bad parent than it was about my child's behavior. This reaction can happen at any age, and it especially rears itself when our children are in the teenage years. We can fight impulsive, overreactive parenting by first learning to parent ourselves. What do I mean by parent yourself? Well, have you ever flown on an airline where the flight attendant tells you before takeoff that in case of an emergency, you should put the oxygen mask on yourself before you place one on your child? Why? Because if you're not breathing, you will not be able to help them breathe. We are fallen human beings, and we live in a fallen world. We were not parented perfectly. Most of us had parents who did some things well and some things not so well. We have an opportunity to study the things we want to do differently now that we are parents. We can also go back to those childhood experiences that may have scarred us and ask the Lord to heal those places. Whether you acknowledge them or not, those broken memories in childhood of painful experiences can come out while you're parenting. They do this, as a wise person once said, by coming out sideways. This means we don't actually know this is happening. We just find ourselves angry and out of control sometimes when dealing with the discipline of our children in certain situations. Sometimes our anger and fear is misplaced and not actually about the scenario at hand. If you find yourself feeling angry and overreacting at times while parenting, these are normal behaviors. However, if you choose to, you can seek some emotional help for yourself that will impact your child. We don't want our children growing up with the same sense of shame that we may have experienced as a child. Practice some self-care today. If you are not already, seek counsel and education for the broken areas that may be fueling your anger and lack of self-control, your anxiety, or your depression. We will not parent perfectly. That's not our goal. Our goal is to parent ourselves in order to better parent our children. Do you have an inner child that needs a little attention? Seek to nurture your own pain so that you may better nurture your child's pain. When we accept God's grace for ourselves, we better offer it to those around us. Scripture says, love your neighbor as yourself. This assumes we will love and care for ourselves, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually as well. This will not only make you a better parent, but it also makes you more whole as a person. In doing this, you teach your child that they are important because you've modeled that you are important. Christ desires us to know who we are in Him, and once we do that, we can discipline our children to do that as well.